You wouldn't be able to tell where my... Hello? Marcella, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Marcella, can you hear me?
Guys, we're already
Yeah, I
live. You
can
start.
hear you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well. I'm glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you too. Happy to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah. So we're here, why we're here today is to discuss about different kinds of temperament tests. And me and you
Yes.
are going to discuss about the different types of temperament tests, how it affects our career, and how we can get better in things we don't like about ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're going to start by defining what we mean by temperament tests.
Okay. Hi, viewers. Welcome to our YouTube channel and the Facebook channel, Craft Mind. I'm Natkunda Marcella, discussing with Juliana Oldeb, and we are talking about personality traits. We are going to discuss. She asked me to help her define the temperament tests of personality traits. These are characters that human beings share. Some people have different personality traits. Like we all know, some people are triggered by different things, but inwardly, those are being explained by personality traits. So we have sanguines as a type of personality, and we have melancholics, we have sanguines, and we have the phlegmatics and the chlorics. These temperaments, as said, share specific characters and very specific details. They have different things that speak of them and different things that would actually tell of them.
True.
Yeah, like as this is as illustrated on the slide, as everyone is watching, we have the different characters that really stand out for every temperament. We are being shown the sanguines tend to be popular. The clerics are powerful, the phlegmatics are peaceful, and the perfectionists are the melancholics. Now, what would really explain each of them is they all have different things they do and the different strengths they have. Melancholics are very, like they say, they're perfect. They tend to pay detail to every little thing they do. They tend to be so very organized,
Okay.
very deep thinkers, analytical, and feelers. Then the sanguines are talkative, very outgoing, very social, enthusiastic, and active. That makes them popular. The peaceful ones are the relaxed, quiet, and easygoing, phlegmatic type of temperament. Then lastly comes the
Okay.
clerics that are powerful. Being powerful for them means being very independent. They're very
Mm-hmm.
decisive, goal oriented. They set goals and be able to achieve them. Whether how it's done, they don't care, but they believe that if a goal is one set, they have to successfully come through it with it. Then they are very ambitious. You have things that need to be done the right way and done on a timely basis. You have the clerics that will really give you the perfect details and how to do certain things perfectly. Yeah, Juliana, back to you.
Yeah, I wanted to start from why it's important that we know about our personality, because
Exactly.
to be honest, I recently learned about them, and I hope, like, I wish I've learned about them long ago. It would have made things easier, because I believe everyone, every youth should at least go through them, at least done the test before choosing their career paths, because it's going to simplify many things. You would know what your positive traits are, you would know yourself better, and which character suits you better. It would be easier to find out more about our career paths. So, as naturally, these are like our psychological nature, and we naturally have two aspects. You're either an introvert or an extrovert. There's something called a third thing which has both, but I think all of us at some point are both. But to talk about introverts and extroverts, I think many of us already know about it. So if you are an introvert, you're driven by your inner force. You tend to
Exactly.
spend time by yourself. You tend to be very focused. You enjoy your alone time. And if you are an extrovert, you're just driven by external force. You tend things to do, like you're sociable, you are easygoing, you're adventurous. You seek to try new adventures, try new things out. So as I hear you speak out, defining and explaining the four temperament traits, I think phlegmatics definitely, and also sanguine and choleric are mostly extroverts. So we start from there. If you are an extrovert, you're most likely a sanguine or a choleric. So you enjoy others' companion, and you're always, seeking out to do new things, trying to see new places, trying to find out a new way of doing things, being a dominant in a conversation, seeking some kind of attention to yourself. But if you are an introvert, it either means you're most likely a phlegmatic, and then also a melancholic, probably. So we start from there, and then as you do the tests deeper, there is two aspects. You would have a dominant one, and there's an underlying one. So most of us may have maybe dominated by an extrovert, and deep inside we may have an introvert aspect, or the vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. And if you could help us detail more about how these different introverts and extroverts section about human beings really affects our daily to day lives, and actually in our career sections, and how we can
Yeah.
really help our temperaments relate to our careers and utilize every dominant and indominant aspect of them.
Yeah, so as I told you, when you first find out about your personality, it helps you in many ways. It helps you in every aspect of your life, definitely. It helps you with your relationship with others. You tend to understand people better. You tend to understand why people are doing things the way you are not doing them, why people are different. So it results in a better understanding, which is a smooth kind of relationship. Then it also helps you with your career. Instead of just trying to copy someone, you can just highlight your strengths and try to do better on things you are not good at. For example, it makes you feel less weirder also. For example, I was the only sanguine in my family, and I've always felt like a weird person. I would feel like I need to calm down because my family, I was the only sanguine. But when you realize why you are the way you are, you would tend to be more comfortable with yourself, one, and then you would it would definitely affect how you perceive your career and how you do things. And then many of us, we would just wonder, you would sit and wonder why your colleague is always energetic, or why your colleague is always in order, while you are wondering here and there, they're always, focused, and they're productive. So sometimes we just try to copy their thing, and we would still fail on doing so. But if we know our personality, it would help us. We would know who we are. We would be contented being who we are. We would
Exactly.
be contented being who we are. we would find a solution to it. They say knowing your problem is halfway to the solution. So, for example, as a sanguine, we have so many wonderful things, wonderful characters, wonderful traits. For example, you're always, on the go. You're easygoing. You are sociable. You're always trying to do adventure. Your life is kind of interesting. But on the career level, there are a few things we need to work on. For example, a sanguine would be better, like would perform better if we are doing something that helps us interact with people, because that's who we are. We said we are more of extroverts. So if you put a sanguine maybe in PR or in marketing or in sales, whatever the job that they feel like they're contributing on something, they would feel contented. They would have high job performance, and they would be like having um, more satisfaction with what they're doing. So,
Exactly.
but there are certain things you're supposed to not to do. Like, for example, we are a bit held back, so we should never procrastinate. If a sanguine procrastinates, chances are we will never get things done.
Yes, and if actually we are to add more about that, one beautiful thing about the sanguines is they are risk takers.
True,
They
true.
always, yeah, exactly. They always want to dare themselves to do things, believing that it will always be the best decision they have ever made. They're not like the arse. I'm a melancholic whereby I always take time to think certain things, and usually when you take
Okay,
time to think certain things, it takes a long process to have certain things done because you're trying to think through every decision you're trying to make, making sure you try not to make a mistake or even meant to make any blunder. But sanguines are risk takers, very daring. They're really impulsive. They believe in
yeah,
everything they do. Exactly, and they have a very positive lightning about them. They're very positive about certain
yeah.
things. So, well as the clerics, ever being that they're administrative, they tend to
Okay,
also relate more with people because they want
okay,
things done, so they have to engage people into their daily way of doing things so they can have people on board and do things. And they are also very
okay,
good risk takers because
okay,
they're administrative. They follow rules and they want things done. So they have to take certain risks to have things done because either way, if they don't do things, they're not happy about it. They tend to be
mm-hmm.
very short tempered if things are not done the way they would want them to be, and they do not have
Okay,
time to compromise. You
okay, okay,
they believe there is ABCD, not ACD. So they have a specific line of doing things. So if you have
okay,
a sanguine and a cleric on a team, trust me, you'll have the best ideas brought up and the best way of doing things because the two traits tend to complement each other in a very positive when it comes to career building and career doing things in an organization. So if you are a cleric as an administrator and your team is made of sanguines and a few phlegmatics, trust me, you'll have things done because phlegmatics are very peaceful and tend to think best when they are peaceful and calm. And they have a
okay,
very way of being sympathetic and being so idealistic. So either way,
okay,
we
okay.
these all these traits complement each other in a very positive and very powerful way. So, as we're talking about careers,
Mm-hmm.
if you try to have all these complementing each other, then things are fine. Because scientifically, we all share these traits, but we have the dominant
True.
traits and the suppressed traits. So, why we're
Yes.
discussing personality traits is today we're trying to help each other identify, learn more about whatever you feel that you really share. Like I told you, sanguines are very outgoing. So if you feel like more of your life is so
True.
outgoing, more of your life is so engaging, more of your life is very, very relating. You are very close to people, like people, and love communicating. You're a team builder. Then you're a sanguine. Then all you feel your life is more of
Okay.
independent. You do things your way. You do things. You want things done this way. You're an administrator. You're a person who loves to lead. Then you're a
Mm-hmm.
cleric.
Mm-hmm.
If you are very
Cleric.
analytical,
Okay.
a feeler, a think through person, and a very, very perfectionist, then I think you are a melancholic. Then the sanguine, the phlegmatics are the very relaxed, peaceful, and the gentle soul of this entire whole. They are the ones that help us blend in everything, because once you bring the chaotic and the lively ones and the peaceful ones or the perfectionists, there must be someone that helps every trend blend in very well, and those are the phlegmatics. So Juliana, if you can help us understand more using the ocean identity to explain more about personality traits.
Yeah, sure. Before going to the ocean, I just wanted to add a point on what you've said about phlegmatics. I think phlegmatics are characterized by, a very calm, a very like peaceful traits. They are very peaceful and they are
Yes.
very calm. A negative trait to phlegmatic would be they are a bit relaxed when it comes to career and work. So maybe
Mm,
if because I am a sanguine and a mixture of phlegmatic. So if
mm,
you are to advise a phlegmatic to work smarter, I think they should instead of having too many problems at hand, I think they should focus on one problem, solve it, and then move to the next one, because multitasking and phlegmatic personality do not get along very well. And another thing would be starting projects beforehand. Since we say they're relaxed, I think it would be better like if they start projects beforehand, like in advance, to help them complete
mm.
it in time.
Exactly.
Yes, and they're a bit slow when it comes to decision making. For the sanguine, they are very quick. We said they are risk takers. We said they can make a very good maybe entrepreneur. But for the phlegmatic, I think they're a bit slow when it comes to decision making. So there are a certain kind of career that they might be like very good at. For example, they say they make a very good office assistant, they make a very good nurse, they are very good with taking care of people, they are very good with peace kind of agreements. So I think we can focus on the positive traits and bring out like nurture it so that it dims the negative traits.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
We. Yes. You're saying.
please continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we are going to discuss more on the oceans. Oceans. It's a scientifically proven way of helping us blend our traits when it comes to our social work and our employment section of
Mm-hmm.
life. Yeah,
Okay.
if Juliana, you can explain more about it.
Okay, so the oceans are called the five factors personality test. It's
Yes.
just an acronym. O is opportunity to new experiences. C
Hmm.
is consciousness. E is extrovert. A is agreeability, and N is neuroticism. So by openness to new experience, we're referring to people who are again adventurous, people who are all about art, people who are very maybe creative, people who are talkative. It can be like referred as openness to new experience. And then when we
Hmm.
talk about consciousness, we are talking about order, people who are very like self-disciplined, people who like doing things in routine, people people who are, very focused and organized.
Yeah.
When we're talking about extroverts, on the other hand, these are people who are very sociable. They are driven by external force. They love people. They love meeting new people. Just a sociable creature. And when we say agreeable people are those who prefer like collaboration over competition. They value partnerships. They value relationship with other people. They are always trying to be very peaceful towards people, and those people are referred as agreeable. And at last, we have neuroticism. Neuroticism is being sensitive to, emotions. It can be negative traits. For example, if you are always anxious or if you are worried about something, fear or stress, these are um, neuroticism. So we have these
Mm.
five big factors who play a different kind of
Mm.
role in career. So to know about
Mm.
career, we have different kind of evaluation. First, we have job performance, and then we have job satisfaction, we have job status, and earnings. So each of those five
Mm.
big factors traits affect our job performance, or whether we are satisfied with our job, or our earnings and our status in our company differently. For example, someone who scored a high level of openness to new experience, if let's say if I scored a high level of points
Mm.
in all, it depends on my career. For example, if I'm an entrepreneur, this can be having a very high effect on my job performance, because I'm always keeping up with the trend. I'm always trying to keep up with changes in my society. As a marketer, for example, when you're doing marketing, the trends always change. You have to be
Yeah.
very keen to new changes. And I think scoring a high point on this specific matter will affect you in a positive way. So it's depending on your career.
Exactly. I'm going to try relating these traits to the current situation we have at hand. This is the COVID era,
Okay.
and these traits are going to they're going to come out in very strong ways, whereby the like we talked about the introverts and the extroverts. So
True.
we are looking at the extroverts being the sanguines and the clerics. These people are going to be able to relate, and they're going to be able to blend and adjust with everything that is going to be happening. They adjust easily to situations, and they're
Okay.
always willing to find positivity at the end of every chaos that comes along. So then the
Yeah.
melancholics and the phlegmatic, being reserved, calm, and thinkers, they take long to process situations. So these are people that are going to take this entire turning situation very, 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 very not. It's not going to come easy on them. Being they will
Okay.
take long to adjust, because melancholics usually stick to routines. So this
Yeah.
comes a time whereby things are going to turn around, whereby there's unemployment, there's going to be a very terrible economy, economic hard economic times. Like everything is going to be affected in its own way. So these are people that are going to
Mm-hmm.
fail to adjust for after a long time. Probably they will take a process and they will need to be helped. So if you realize you have friends around you that are trying so hard to adjust to these situations, people that are being emotional. Some people will tend to fall sick, some people will tend to become
Yeah.
mentally disturbed, they'll get things like depression. Try to help them adjust to this entire post-COVID era or the current COVID era slowly by slowly, because these personalities need to blend in very well for the society to go on very well. We were talking about openness. With openness, there are those that are open and there are those that are very closed off. The open ones are the sanguines and the chlorics. Then those that are so them to themselves, those are the melancholics and the chlorics. Then those that are conscious and the unconscious ones. The conscious ones are the melancholics and the chlerics. They tend to see things like for they are. Then the ones that tend to procrastinate about certain things are the sanguines and the phlegmatics, because the phlegmatics, however you give it to them, is how they will relate to it. Then the sanguines tend to always find a way to adjust around certain things. They tend to find positivity about everything. So however you see things negatively, they'll always create something fun, something likable out of that situation. Then those that are agreeable, and it's not good to have a team made up of only people that are very, very agreeable. Those are the phlegmatics. For them, they tend to agree with everything, because for as long as it gives them peace, and for as long as it gives them what they need, satisfaction to what they need, they are okay with it. But you need to have people that help you drive to the best option, and that's when you have those that are agreeable and those that are disagreeing on certain situations. So people who are always agreeing on certain things and the ones that are always disagreeing, the ones that agree are usually the phlegmatics and the melancholics, because being the fact that melancholics are very thinkers, they tend to agree about certain things. But sanguines are very, very, very pessimistic. So usually having a phlegmatic and a sanguine, when it comes to agreeing about certain things, you tend to drive to the very, very right thing. So then we're trying to drive this entire whole situation to the mental situation, whereby we believe the sanguines and the phlegmatic and the melancholics are introverts. Then the clerics and the sanguines are extroverts. They're very outgoing and very relatable. Then these ones that are introverts tend to become about certain things and tend not to have people around themselves, not because they are very introverts and they're loners, but they tend to want to process certain things slowly by slowly. Like, before I let people around me, before I tend to have people, I want to make sure if things are going to be my way. And they tend to love to have their time to themselves for them, so that they can be able to relate and identify more with themselves. Yeah, so that's basically more about the temperaments of personalities. So if we can probably proceed to mail to the more findings by Myers-Briggs, where she talks about the 16 personality traits. Juliana, you can help us trying to relate to the 16 personality types by Myers-Briggs.
Okay, but before I talk about the 16 personalities, I just feel like I have to share this. I wish we've done this when our viewers but I will make sure that we drop the link to the test maybe right after this show. I find the 5 big
Yes.
factors very relatable to career, and I find it very accurate on a personal level, because I want to demonstrate this. For example, we've said that people who are having high point of openness to new experience tend to have if, for example, you have a high level of consciousness, it is said to be like the most successful. If someone is organized, if someone has self-discipline, if someone is used to doing routines in a balanced way, I think it is going to be to have a high job performance, one, and two, they are going to be very satisfied with what they are doing. But on the other hand, if
Yes.
someone is agreeable, if someone scores high on being agreeable, they are going to have a very low job satisfaction. And that's because, when you are agreeing with whatever people are saying, you are not fulfilling your own needs, you are not fulfilling your own wants, and that could be leading to dissatisfaction in your job. On the next notes, we've talked about being extrovert. Extroverts can have high job performance, still depending on their career. If you are in charge of something that relates to people and you are an extrovert, of course you are going to be very good at it. For example, people who are in sales, if they are extroverts, they are going to have a very high level of job performance because they are good at socializing with people, they are good with conversation, they are good with making people, they are good with negotiation and all those stuffs. And again, maybe if you are having a high level of neuroticism, it affects you in a negative way. You cannot be satisfied because our thoughts are captured by negative thoughts. All you have in mind is fear. It can be good. For example, you tend to revise your decisions. You are not very quick to make decisions, but it still affects us fully because we will never be satisfied with whatever we're doing if you are neuroticism about something. And
I'm
on a
seeing a
final
question.
note,
Juliana,
I'm hearing.
I'm seeing a question. When does your personality trait affect your career? Is there anything you can do about it? Um, if I can try answering that, yes, your personality traits sometimes affect your careers, and that's why we're trying to discuss more about the traits. And if you
Yeah.
can do something about it, you can adjust. Some traits are actually we are not born with these traits, but I believe it's they're not natural, but they are nature. They are brought out how we relate the society around us. You might find at home you grew up in a very, very welcoming out family, but suddenly you turn out to be a very, very, very phlegmatic, calm person. Like Yelena told
Yeah.
us, she's the only sanguine in the family, that she comes from a very, very, very calm family, but actually her personality is more than the rest of the family members. So your personality trait can really affect your career in a way that some it depends on the position you have. You cannot have a phlegmatic for an administrator, since they tend to have things slow and tend to have things that they prefer shortcuts to have beat around the entire things and trying to go straight with them. They tend to love to create shortcuts about them. So if it
Hmm.
serious, don't have a phlegmatic for an administrator because they are not decisive. They are very not good at trying to make those standing out decisions because they try to think through certain things and they agree with almost everything. If you want things to be done, of course, first
Yes.
way out. And these are not people that usually want options because they find things of options and trying to think certain through are very time wasting, and they take a lot of resources. So you
True.
can adjust your personality for your careers. Like we told you, we have a personality and we have one first. So if you are a dominant phlegmatic and then you are a suppressed sanguine, having your sanguine trait become dominant and use the advantage of the phlegmatic to become a like you have to blend the traits both well together.
Yeah.
Make sure the your disadvantages of being a phlegmatic, you use them to improve your sanguine traits, so that sanguine traits can be more dominant. If you are on a very emotional admitter, then you will not be in players, because you don't have to be emotional when you're dealing with teamwork. So you're dealing with employees, because you need to leave room for adjustment. They are human beings, and you may not want them to be bullied around. You being a perfectionist and trying to drive them to do things the way you'd want them to be done is usually not healthy for the team and as well. So you may really necessarily need to have to blend your characters and blend your traits so they can fit in for the coexistence of both the employees and the employee of the organization.
Yes. On another note, I
Maybe
just
if you
want to
can
say
add
it
more
might
about that
be
and help us
difficult.
understand more.
Yes, thank you, Marcella. Um,
Yes,
so
yes, you.
there are things you find it difficult. For example, it's not that a phlegmatic cannot be an administrator, but depending on the trait, it might be difficult. There are things that we can train ourselves to do. For example, we've said that a choleric person is more, oriented. They are more goal oriented. They are more action oriented, and they tend to do things in a whip. But for phlegmatic, they tend to lay back, they tend to relax. But if you are phlegmatic and then you have a project oncoming, you have to make sure you do it. So it doesn't matter, uh like, it matters what your personality trait is, but you can train yourself to do better on things that you are not good at. For example, a phlegmatic can train himself or herself to do things, to submit projects on time, because we've commented about how to work smart depending on different kind of traits. Earlier, I was talking about phlegmatics, and I said they should never procrastinate. They should always begin projects in advance, and they should focus on one thing instead of multitasking. So if you know you are pragmatic and then you know you have a problem with projects, you are very relaxed, you can do these steps to make sure that you are there in time. So it might be difficult, it might take an effort to be on the same page with the other personality type traits, because that's not originally who you are, but you can train yourself and do better.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And probably someone may try to ask the question, how best can I try to have my other traits, like how best can I identify what traits do I have, what flegments do what temperaments do am I made of. um you need to find out
I
more of your hobbies. Our hobbies tend to tell us more about our personalities, what you have to do, how do you relate with other people. Your social your social welfare, your social activities will help you discover your traits, how you relate with people, how you work around with people, how you relate with yourself as well, and how do you do certain things in your life.
mm,
What triggers your
yes,
happiness and what triggers you being sad. Those really, really help you a lot as personalities, and still use those same ideas to discover which other strength to work on your the effects, probably, if I call them so, the side effects of the negative side of the traits that you have.
yeah.
Mm, exactly. So
And it is
not bad if you are. Yes.
it is easier now because we
Joy,
have
is
all
anything
the
you're
tests
saying?
online. So if, for example, you can do the tests online. and then you can find out about yourself. Just stay true to yourself, whatever the question, however weird it might appear, however you don't like your answer, maybe you just should just stay then maybe you can ask your friend to do it for you also, so that you get someone who knows you best. They do it and then you also do it, and then you try to compare in case of, if you're deceiving yourself through the taste. Because sometimes we aspire to be something, and on reality we are a different kind of having personality, but there is a personality that we like, so there might be a difference in the answers. But the live the online tastes are very helpful, and they all relate. If you see the 16 personalities, they relate with the four: the sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholic. So for example, in the four temperaments tests, I scored sanguine with phlegmatic, and then you realize that that result is immediately starting resulting ENFP in the 16 personality types. So they are all correlated. Marcella, you were earlier trying to refer to those 14 per month in line of the ocean. So the ocean, the 14 per month, and the 16 personalities, they correlate together. They are not like very different. They have something that relates them together.
I didn't really get what you're saying. You have a hickey network. If you could repeat the same thing, it'll be adjusted. I didn't really get what you're saying. Hello, Ju, are you there? Okay, if I press a network issue, I'm going to talk about our characters. Um, how to help you use your traits decide the best career path that you can go with. If you're having issues to adjust to the current job, probably you feel like you do not fit in or you don't perform it, because apparently the best way to perform to know that you're performing very well at your job is when you have satisfaction. Not until you feel like you're satisfied with what you're doing and how your results at work, because it's both the employee, it sometimes has to be about yourself. Because if you do something that you don't like, it tends to become monotonous and very draining. But how best you can
Yeah.
realize that you are good at your job, you enjoy it, you like the results, and you're inwardly satisfied. You need to have traits help you cope up with emotionally, physically, and cope up with your day activities. So you need to relate to your traits to choose the right career path. If you are a sanguine, I believe you would do very well if you are if you are in a job that gives you more time to helps you become more adventurous, a job that helps you, that listens to your ideas. If your employee doesn't really listen to your ideas or gives you time to be part of the process of creation, because sanguines are very creative, then they'll never be
Yes.
satisfied. They tend to move from job to job to job until they feel satisfied or until they feel like they are worth being in the same environment they are in. Then for the phlegmatics, they want to be in a calm environment. So usually I think they make very good administrators, so administrative assistants, because love love to they love to do things. They love to be in the background. They're not very outgoing, but
Mm-hmm.
they perform better when they're in the background because they do
Okay.
smartly there. They No one is watching, and there is no pressure, so they work best in the background.
Yeah.
Then for the clerics, they tend to disagree with everything, so they need to be at the front line. So if you're not administering certain things, or if you're not doing certain things the right way, you tend not to have satisfaction. So probably you need to find out what do you have that is stronger than the other, then use the dominancy of that trait to discover more about your career choices. Other than, I imagine, a sanguine being in an administrative process. Yeah, that could be a good administrator. Probably they would not perform well where they're expected to be perfect, because they tend to believe
Yes.
there must be room for adjustment for everyone. So if there
Yes.
is no room for adjustment for a sanguine, because they tend to make mistakes, but they learn through these mistakes, and at the end of it all, they perform best. So probably you need to identify what your trait is and how best you can use this trait in your best career choice.
Yes.
Yeah, G,
Yes.
if you can add
If,
more about to that. Mm.
I just remembered a conversation we had a few days ago, me and you. I'm not sure if I remember all the words correct, but you were telling me about the P words that represent the personality traits the best. You told me choleric was powerful, which means they love ruling, they love being in charge, they love to lead, they come out as a good leader. And then you were telling me the phlegmatics were peaceful, which means they tend to agree with people more. They are more of partnership, collaboration, and stuff.
Okay, if we are to cut this, I don't know if you're still saying something, but I think we're out of time, and we need to cut this. It has been a great discussion sharing with you, and it was a very good topic to discuss with you people. Hope you've all identified something about this, and I hope we were able to relate with your personalities. But we kindly advising you to stay safe, wash your hands, be positive, try to check in with your friends, try to be cautious about environment, because we are still trying to struggle with this pandemic. Love the people around you, but try to protect them by and encourage each other to stay at safe, clean, and alert. Thank you so much, and we shall be joining you in the next very conversations, more about careers, more about social life, and probably this is it from me. And Juliana can say something.
I just want to say the last comment, Brenda Abejo, I've seen really address the question. So Abejo, I've seen you. I would reply on the comment section. Thank you everyone for watching. This has been very awesome, and we'll promise to drop the link. You can do your tests. You can find out more about yourself. You would love it. This is fun. The questions are entertaining. They are not dry questions, the one you are used at school. Yeah, so you would love them. Thank you very much for watching. Marcela, thank you.